When Toph teaches Aang earthbending, it is a lesson that I know that you and I can both take away from the series because I have a feeling that if you're avoiding certain things as I am, it's because we're looking at it from Aang's perspective instead of from Toph's perspective. What Toph says right here is one of the most meaningful lines in this episode, other than what Iroh teaches Zuko, but that's a video for a different day, which if you want to see that, just let me know. But this right here.
The key to earthbending is your stance. You've got to be steady and strong. Rock is a stubborn element. If you're going to move it, you've got to be like a rock yourself.
This is so true. We want to do all these amazing things. At least I do, and I know that if you've been watching my videos, you want to do the exact same thing. Is we have to be willing to be stubborn with certain ideas, but also be fluid like water as Aang is with Katara. Like we have to be willing to move, but we also have to be willing to know when to push back and when to hold our ground. It's exactly what Aang does at the end of this episode when he does end up standing up to Toph, as you are hopefully well aware of by this point in time, since this show came out 20 years ago, I feel like, at this point in time, which is just crazy. It's crazy to see how our childhood has just grown with the ages. But I think about it this way, because in the next scene, when Aang finally does try to, he tries to earthbend the boulder, this is what he says.
Maybe there's another way. What if I came at the boulder from a different angle?
No, that's the problem. There's no different angle, no clever solution, no trickety trick that's gonna move that rock. You've got...
This is something that I've been dealing with and working on and trying to understand is there is no different angle. All you have to do is, it's as simple can be, and we seem to overcomplicate it as Aang does. He's like, let me think about it this way or this way, or what if I look at it from this angle, or what if I go here, but what if I go over here? But then it's like, but it's a rock. Like, the rock is a rock. It just stays there. I've looked at rocks in rivers, and I've bawled, I've swept over just looking at a rock. And Epictetus said this as well, too, is like, you want to be a rock that whatever comes your way, you aren't fazed by any sort of situation. And I look at this scene as like, I have to be like Toph. I have to be the rock. I have to go into it as she does, where it's just like I jump into it and I smash my head into the rock to destroy it. Like I have to face my problems head on. Being an airbender, being somebody that's meditated, I seem to like to face things in the other realms in my mind before I face them on the external. But that's where it all has to start, is you have to face it on the inside before you can face it on the outside. And that's why it's sad seeing this scene right here when the rock starts rolling down the hill and Katara's like, isn't there a better way to go about this? And Toph's like, oh, well, there is kind of a better way. And she puts a blindfold around Aang. And Aang doesn't have the courage to be able to stand up in front of the rock because that wasn't something that he truly felt like he had to protect. Whereas what we see later in the series, later in the episode, when he has to protect Sokka from the baby moose, well, I guess it's actually an adult moose, lion, tiger cub with his mom. Baby moose, lion, tiger cub. I love the animals that they came up with in Avatar. But like when he had to protect something that was truly meaningful to him, he ended up standing up for himself and protecting Sokka. And then he was able to also stand up for Toph. And as soon as he did that, it's like, hey, look, you were able to stand up against an animal. And more importantly, you were able to stand up against me. And that's what I like being able to see, is like, to be an earthbender, to do anything meaningful in our life, we have to have the courage to stand up to that quote unquote authority figure that's pushing us around. That's our rock, that isn't able to be moved. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be yourself. Most likely it is yourself, but you've been associating it and pushing it onto other people, when in actuality, you just have to stand up for yourself. You have to face yourself head on. You have to stand up for that challenge. Stop looking at different angles and just face it directly. Get in front of the paper, get in front of the prospect, get in front of the person. Do the thing and the work that is required. Lift the weight, go on the walk, have the conversation, put yourself out there and detach from the outcome, and realize that you are in complete control of the outcome, and you don't have to look at it from all these different angles like Aang has been doing, because as soon as he starts to face his problem head on, that's when everything starts to change for him.